Welcome to the Pacific City and Northern Railway virtual tour. The PC&N Railway is approximately 11 feet square, U-shaped, point-to-point layout. Trackage is a mixture of Code 70 and Code 55 hand-laid track and turnouts, except for two commercial sections in the passing track and hidden trackage. Our tour over the narrow gauge starts in Pacific City, which features a small yard, a gallows turntable, the depot, and the city of Pacific City. The depot in Pacific City is scratch-built and is based off of plans of the South Pacific Coast Agnews Depot. After leaving Pacific City, the line skirts the edge of the bay on a 2% grade headed for Tunnel Number 1. After exiting Tunnel Number 1, the line encounters the bridge that carries it across Deception Cove. Just past the bridge is the last opportunity to take on water before the long, hard climb to Summit. After exiting Tunnel Number 2, the grade finally starts to ease as the train has almost made it into Summit. Just past Summit, we're taken to the outskirts of Equinox via a tall wooden trestle. Equinox is the end of the line for the PC&N. At Equinox, there is a Y, a depot, several industries, and the interchange with the Dayton, Sheridan, and Grand Ronde Railway. With track lane complete, it was time to start working on operations. Train number 3, the westbound morning freight from Equinox, exits Tunnel Number 1 and will soon be arriving at Pacific City. As he enters the yard limits in Pacific City, the engineer whistles for the grade crossing just ahead. Running just a little behind schedule, the morning freight pulls into yard track number 1, clearing the main line for the eastbound passenger train. The conductor will check with the station agent for any additional orders or waybills while the crew begins their switching assignments. Our crew is able to use the turntable to both run around the train and turn the engine in preparation for the return trip to Equinox. The turntable is an A-frame style that was common on many western roads. Constructed using heavy timbers that were locally sourced and combined with a minimum of specialized cast iron parts and rods, they were able to be quickly assembled in place. At the very center of the turntable was a set of small wheels riding on a circle of rail that formed a giant roller bearing or spider, that when the engine was properly balanced, allowed 2 to 3 men to turn the locomotive. while most other lines have begun adopting simpler and easier to maintain engine paint schemes. The PC&N takes pride in keeping their fleet's appearance as striking as the day they were delivered from the Baldwin Locomotive Works. After aligning the turntable to yard track number 2, the crew runs around the freight and couples up to the caboose. While the freight crew continues their work in the yard, the morning passenger train has already started loading passengers. Once the brakes are pumped back up to pressure, the crew then shoves the train far enough to clear the turntable lead, and then pulls the caboose and spots it on the turntable lead in preparation for their return trip. With train number 3 in the register, passenger train number 2 owns the main line for the next 2 hours for her first-class run to Equinox. As our train exits the yard limits, it takes a skillful engineer to balance the throttle and the Johnson bar to make sure that he continues to accelerate upgrade without slipping. The passengers get one last look at Pacific City across the bay as the train gets ready to enter tunnel number 1. Passengers are treated to a spectacular view of the Pacific Ocean as the train passes over Deception Cove. After exiting tunnel number 2, the train comes to the passing siding at Summit. Summit is a flag stop station, and with no passengers today, our train continues on to Equinox. Our train is right on schedule today and will soon pull into the Equinox Depot. The agent at Equinox registers train number 2's arrival 2 minutes ahead of schedule. Operation planning is just in the beginning stages. The ultimate goal is to keep 2 to 3 crews busy during an operating session. We wrap up our tour with some behind-the-scenes footage. Turnout positions are set by servo motors, controlled via a Tam Valley Depot servo control board mounted conveniently behind the control panel, which hinges down to allow access for maintenance and for setting of servo endpoints. In order to be able to maintain the 22-inch minimum radius on the Y, I had to design a removable tail track extension, which is easily installed for operating sessions and then can be removed and stowed away when the layout is not in use. Both the tail track extension and the lift-out portion needed to have simple yet reliable electrical connections. I used PC board spring-loaded test points mounted in holes drilled in 1/8 inch brass tubing that would then contact metal plates on the lift-out portions and thus provide electrical current to both sections. Here you see the spring-loaded action of the PC board test points. When the lift-out section is engaged, it drops down onto metal plates on the underside, which allow the electrical connection for the lift-out section. Here you see the lift-out section being installed. The beauty of this system is that nothing attaches to the lift-out section. Harp switch stands are connected to the turnout via 10/1000 phosphor bronze wire. A Wi-Fi capable Raspberry Pi running JMRI software interfaces to the PC&N's Lens DCC control system via a Lens USB adapter, allowing wireless control of the layout. Well, I hope you enjoyed the virtual layout tour. Hopefully you found 1 or 2 things you can incorporate into your own modeling. And just remember, you don't have to fill a basement full of trains to have fun. Take care and thanks for coming.